What's up guys, Mike here, the Detroit Borg with a look at iOS 10 on the iPhone and the iPad. So iOS 10 is in beta process right now, and I'll keep you updated with all the beta releases as they roll out this year. So things will change as we progress toward fall when this is finally released. Now this is launching on all the devices you see on your screen right now, which now excludes the iPhone 4S, the iPod Touch 5th generation, and the iPad 2nd and 3rd generation. So one of the new features with iOS 10 is Raise to Wake. This is on the iPhone. So basically, if you pick up your iPhone and raise it up, it'll wake up the lock screen so you can take a look at your notifications without touching any of the buttons. This bypasses the lightning fast home button, which often flew past your notifications without giving you a chance to read them. Now, in addition to new default wallpaper, there are some significant changes to the interface design. Now, if you swipe all the way to the right, you get to your Spotlight search area, which now has all these widgets. Now, these widget bubbles are much larger and more powerful than they were before, so you can see your favorites for quick accessing your contacts. You can show more to see your Siri app suggestions based on how you use them. You can see your calendar, your weather, in addition to your news feed, so you can see all your news items from the new News app. And of course, we have many more below that. Now, you can edit this. So all I have to do is go to edit, and you can see all the ones I have currently in my feed, but I can go ahead and add additional widgets just by plugging them in here, and I can rearrange them by dragging and dropping them. The notification shade has also been updated here, and you can see the notification badges are much larger than before. You can also 3D press on them to expand them out and tap again to act on that app. So if you want to open up that app, you can do so that way. Now, the thing here is that we've lost our widgets from this panel, which would seem to be an issue, especially on the lock screen. But on the lock screen, all you have to do is swipe to the right, and you get to your widget panel in the same way you would on the home screen. This also works when you're within an app. So if I swipe down to get to my notifications, just swipe across the top here and I can get to my widgets. Now that's not the only place you can find widgets. You'll also find them in the redesigned Control Center. So the Control Center layout looks pretty familiar, just looks a little bit different, but we also have 3D touch on some of these items, like the flashlight. So if you want to change the intensity of the flashlight, or if you want to copy the last results calculated in the calculator app, or you also have 3D touch options for the camera app. We also have some 3D touch options for the timer. Now if we swipe to the right, we get to our media controls. So we have quick access to our media controls, and we can select our output source if we want. Swipe again and we get to something new. This is a HomeKit widget. So basically this plugs into the Home app that is now on the home screen. So basically this allows us to quickly access our HomeKit devices. So this is basically home automation. So things like light bulbs, your garage door, your security cameras, all of that. So this is all available from this widget. So you have quick access to features that you may need to use frequently, such as your lights in my case. So I even have my scenes here for adjusting my hue light bulbs, which is kind of nice. And of course, you can also just go to the Home app, which is where you can see all of your devices. So you can see your favorite accessories. Now, in my case, I only have light bulbs. I don't have thermostats that are HomeKit enabled or anything like that. But if you did, you would have those here. I can also see my room, so I can manage this based on my room. So I can manage the scenes, I can manage the accessories, and more. And then I have some automation options here as well, which actually works with the Apple TV as a secure hub. 3D touching some of these apps also gains some new features, such as these widgets, which appear under the News app. So if you want to see the latest news item in your News app, you can just 3D touch on it. Same with the weather, so if you want to see your current weather conditions, and you still have all of those quick actions below it. This also works great with the phone dialer, so if you want quick access to your favorite contacts, they're available here. Now, perhaps one of the most celebrated changes with iOS 10 is one that Apple doesn't really talk about, and that's the ability to finally delete apps. So you can finally delete Apple's own apps, some of the system apps like the Watch app, which is great because not everybody has an Apple Watch, so why should every iPhone have the app? You can also delete FaceTime, all of the iLife and iWork apps as well. You can also delete the iTunes Store, Apple Music, and the email app, in addition to the calendar, weather app, videos, and more. What you can't delete, oddly, is the News app, of course, the HealthKit app, the Wallet app, the Clock app, and more. Another welcome change in notifications is the ability to finally clear all. Just 3D touch on the X button and click Clear All Notifications. We also have richer and more interactive notifications, so they can do a lot more than they could before. So when I receive a notification here, I can actually use 3D touch to open it up. So that means I don't have to enter in the app. I don't have to open up the messaging app in order to respond to it or see the content here, such as videos or digital touch items or that sort of thing. So in this case, it's just a photo. So I can go ahead and just reply back, send it off, and then I can go back to what I was doing. So taking a look at the iPad, we have similar design changes here and a few additional ones. So you can see when you rotate the lock screen to landscape, the clock is in the upper left corner. And that's because when you swipe to the right, you can see we now have our widgets. So very similar to the iPhone, but we have two columns of them. You can also see the clock is swiped over to the right to indicate that we're in the widget panel along with the date. We also have our weather information in the upper left corner, which is nice. Now you can edit these by going to edit, but I'll have to unlock my device here. So once I unlock it, you can see that I have my widget panel editor, which allows me to edit both the left and right columns individually, so that's kind of nice. Now if you swipe down, you can see all of your notifications just like you would on an iPhone. If you swipe to the right, again, you have your widget panel. If you swipe up, you get to Control Center, which is a different layout for the iPad this time. So you can see these panels sort of float, and you can see the other panel just off to the right edge here. So